Malinita Cortez. I am Nurkaiza Abdullajid from BSED English Section 3A. For today's video, I will going to describe the way of life, beliefs, and religions of the Filipinos during the pre-colonial period. During the pre-colonial period, Filipinos were agrarian societies with hierarchical social structure, a complex spiritual, and an animistic belief system. Religious practices involves rituals, ceremonies, offering, and shamans, mythology, and folklore were rich, and festivals were celebrated throughout the year. It is important to note that the pre-colonial Philippines was a diverse archipelago with numerous ethnic groups, each with its own unique customs, language, and practices. Therefore, there were variations in the way of life, beliefs, and religions practices across different regions and communities in the Philippines during this period. What are the various causes responsible for the brevity of the Philippines structure? So, the brevity of the Philippines literature can be attributed to several factors, including colonial influences, oral tradition, limited access to education, socio-economic factors, and linguistic fragmentation, colonial influences such as Spanish and American colonization. Suppressed indigenous Philippines literature, leading to a small body of work. Oral tradition were passed down through generations, and limited access to education restricted the number of people who could contribute to the literary scene. Next is socio-economic challenges. Political instability and linguistic fragmentation further exacerbate the brevity of the Philippines literature. Despite these challenges, there is a growing interest in preserving indigenous literary traditions and promoting new voices in contemporary Philippine literature. Next is explain how did the written characters employed by the early Filipinos differ from those being used today. The written characters employed by the early Filipinos known as baybayin or alibata differ significantly from the writing system used in the Philippines today. Here are the key differences. So first is number 1, origin and structure. Baybayin is an ancient script believed to have originated from the Brahmic scripts of India. It is a syllabic script, meaning that each character represents a syllable rather than an individual sound or letter. The modern Filipino writing system, on the other hand, is based on the Latin alphabet, which was introduced during the Spanish colonial period. Number 2, usage and context. So, usage in context baybayin was primarily used for inscription on various media such as bamboo, metal, and leaves. It was commonly used for recording important information, writing poetry, and communicating before the arrival of the Spanish colonizers. Today, baybayin is experiencing a revival and is sometimes used for decorative purposes or cultural expressions. The modern Filipino writing systems, however, is the primary script used for official documents, books, newspapers, signage, and everyday communication. Next is encoding and standardization. While baybayin lacks a standardized encoding system, the modern Filipino writing systems uses widely adopted encoding standards like Unicode, which ensure consistent representations across digital platforms and devices. This enables the easy exchange and display of written Filipino text in various digital contexts. It is worth noting that baybayin is an important part of the Philippine cultural heritage, and efforts have been made to represent and promote its use. However, the modern Filipino writing system based on the Latin alphabet remains the standard script for contemporary communication in the Philippines. Next is define the following. In one sentence each. First is kudanag. These are accounts of battle. Next is tagumpay or talindad. These are songs of victory. Sambutan, tagulaylay. Tagulaylay is from Bicolano folk song, and tagulaylay is originated from the words taghoy, which means which means lament, and alalay, which means sustain its grievings or over such a tragic event. Hibais or Ibois. These are songs which tell about the lives of warriors and ancestors of the Filipino of Negros and recount the life of their great voyage. Number 5, Balayang. It is a wedding ballad in Batangas. Next is Papyri or Papiri. It means praise and was known to the people of Tayabas known Quezon Province. Number 7 is Onsigip or Vansal Pagatin. These are Pangasinan terms referring to premarital and postmarital ceremonies. Next is Kulintang. These are native musical instruments used by ancient Filipinos in keeping the beat of rhythm. Next is Maragtas. It tells the story of 10 Brunei datus who, oppressed by their superior master, left the land of their birth to found a settlement in 1212 in the Visayas. This is Hinilawod. This is the oldest and longest epic poem of Panay. Ibalon. It is an ancient epic in Bicol, and it was told by the bard Kadungnong, who could unravel the hidden mysteries of the formative Bicol region and could give account of the feats of ancient kings and heroes. Next is his Historia. Papasaritaan ti pagbiag ni Lamang. It is an old Ilocano metrical story, the authorship of which is not yet established. Next is Darangan. It is the Maranao narrative poetry consists of a series of 25 epic of tales revolving around one great hero named Bantugan. Hudhud. An epic poem deals with the story of the great Ifugao cultures of a hero known as Aligoyon of Guhandan. Next is Alim. It is the sister Ifugao epic deals with the lives of the gods and happenings in the skyward. Oral lore. It is a form of human communication where knowledge, art, ideas, and cultural materials are received, preserved, and transmitted orally from one generation to another. Next is proverb. It is a simple and concrete saying popularly known and repeated that expresses truth based on common sense or experiences they have been customarily used as laws and rules and good behavior by our ancestors. Next is Loas. It is a folk tradition that mirrors the Ilonggo's creative and poetic institution. Next is myth. A traditional story especially in concerning the early history of people or explaining some natural or social phenomenon and typically involving supernatural beings or events. Next is legend. Legend, it is a prose fiction which is attempt to explain the origin of things, places, objects that we see around us. Next is epic. Epic is a long poem, typically one derived from ancient oral tradition narrating the deeds and adventure of heroic or legendary figures or the history of a nation. Next is folk songs. A folk song is a musical composition that expresses the experiences, emotion, and values of a particular group of people. Philippine folk songs and typically characterized by their use of simple melodies and harmonies as well as their lyrics, which often focuses on themes of love, loss, and nature. Next is riddle. It involves reference to one or two images that symbolize the characteristics of an object that is used to be guessed. And that's all for today's video. Thank you!